Hi Heather, this is Jeff Beaudry, and I just wanted to welcome you to the class. I am very, well, I'm mortified. That's a mild word, mild way to say that I am so sorry that I forgot to turn on my Skype machine or my Hangout or whatever screen share I was going to use that Anita is so adept at. So you can tell that I'm not the whole uh, team without Anita here, but that being said, I do want to welcome you with this short video to the class, give you a quick walkthrough of the website, and tell you a little bit about what we did. So the orientation to the course is that it's analysis of teaching and assessment. So we're really combining the two worlds, and we're trying to do it in the context of the ongoing work in schools around classroom assessment literacy, teacher effectiveness, student growth, and proficiency. So those kind of topics really were things that we surfaced early on in a kind of an open discussion. And then we looked at the structure of the course. Now we can only take the course so far because we do want to maintain a little bit of that responsiveness to what students need. And also Anita and I need to keep getting together to design the course. So let me just take a quick look at the syllabus. Over here on the control panel, or that navigation bar, I've got my syllabus. And so let me open the syllabus and give you a look at what's there. So I'll put Anita's name in the syllabus shortly, but the things that are important are right here. The Jan Chapuis book, the blue book, and the blue book is really a comprehensive guide to classroom assessment. I'd be surprised if you haven't already heard of it or seen the version that was a big yellow book. I know Anita has carried her yellow book around like her assessment Bible, which it is for me as well, so we're really very much in alignment and kindred spirits there. But that will be our reading, and we read chapter 1 for today and discussed it. And then this book by John Hattie. John Hattie, whose claim to fame right now is trying to take the empirical evidence around teaching and learning and apply some of those principles of gauging the impact and creating a way of sorting through all this massive amount of information about what's effective and what isn't effective. And he uses the idea of effect sizes, and so that was the very most introductory part of that book, and I think we really didn't even get deeply into that one. In fact, I think some of the students felt like it was kind of worded in a lofty way. He's from New Zealand, and so I think you can already tell that it's written for a different kind of a different culture, a different English culture almost. Regardless of that, the two books are going to be dual texts. One focusing on assessment and formative assessment, summative. The other one focusing on teaching, learning, and the classroom and how to design a classroom and those strategies. So what we did was have students talk about the connections between that and teaching, learning, and assessment. I'll get to that in just a minute, but I wanted to scroll down here. I didn't really go through the assignments at all, but I did focus on our first 3 days. So I think what we're going to have to do with you is to make a recording of next week's Dine and Discuss, the presentation on proficiency, and send that to you. And I pledge to you that I will do that. And then to have you talk and interview a leader in your school. It could be a principal, could be an AA or assistant principal, AP. And to find out, ask that principal and ask another teacher. So I interview 2 people and ask them where they are in proficiency, in developing the proficiency standards and in the work on proficiency, and what do they mean by it? Excuse me, and how does that connect with the kind of course that the kind of work you'd like to do in this course? We'd like to have a discussion the week after that on January 28th on what people found out, what people heard at this presentation, and so you'll get a chance to do that. And in addition, we'll have the chapter by Chapuis et al., chapter 2, which is about formative and summative assessment, and then in Hattie, the chapters 2 and 3, which he talks a little bit more about the calculation of effect sizes, the kind of the framework that goes into the understanding around teaching and learning that he would like to get across, and planning. So this is your syllabus. This is posted. I'll revise it and get to Anita's name. Here's the handout. I want to go to weekly plans now. Over here on the left side, there's weekly plans. And in January 14th, the lesson plan for today contained a kind of a step-by-step of what we wanted to do in class. We laid out the course schedule, like I said, and then we introduced each other to class. So I'm looking forward to getting to know you, and next week or in 2 weeks we'll ask you to introduce yourself. And then we did a group process and around this idea of what is good teaching, what is good learning, what is good assessment in the context of Chapter 1 in the Chapuis book, and also in the context of Chapter 1 for Hattie. The discussions were very general and broad. Some of the interesting points that were made, one group talked about teachers who are looping and how they're a special case of teaching, learning, and assessment. I thought that was very interesting because that leads to yet another option or another way to think about how we're going to do this teacher effectiveness measurement of pre and post growth of students. Another group was really focused on the formative versus summative and trying to make sure that we didn't trivialize the summative assessments for teacher effectiveness by doing tests of knowledge that clearly students didn't know versus the kinds of things, those broader understandings that we'd like them to develop over time. Another group looked at technology, but I'm not sure they looked at technology so much as they looked at differentiating classrooms, and technology seemed to be a vehicle toward that. And they also looked at that model on page 11 in the Stiggins, in the Chapuis text, which had the keys to sound assessment. And the one that they were asking about was the student involvement one. And student involvement, for me, has taken on so many different meanings. And I think what the meaning there is that the student is the key user of assessment. One of the ways that student involvement had been portrayed was that students were a partner in assessment and actually involved in the assessment building itself. So you'll have to you'll have to go, an example of that would be if I have a writing rubric and I want the students to look at exemplars of writing, of low, medium, and high writing, could they come up with their own rubric, or could they then do some brainstorming and then transfer that understanding to my rubric? So that's the way we structured the class today. So what I'd like to do with you is to get your ideas about these two topics, the Chapter 1 in the Chapuis book and Chapter 1 in the Hattie book, but also just to kind of get to know you. So I am looking forward to meeting up with you on screen share. I apologize. I can't tell you how bad I feel that I managed to miss this, but please forgive me, and we'll do everything I can to make it up. And I'm sure that we'll be able to bridge this gap many times very successfully. Okay? Let's see. Let me go back to my applied project. Oh yes, under the applied project, there are also some examples that I put in there. I will be putting more examples of student work so that you can see what we're looking at for the end product of this course. It really is a look at an example of a pre and post, or a student growth project, if you will. So you'll get to see what students have done in our first semester. I have to tell you how much this collaboration with Anita has meant. We've given each other some great ideas and have been very, I think, energized by the exchange that we've had between each other, and certainly I know that she comes up to Lincoln and has a great place to test her ideas out. So that's why I'm so delighted to have you in the course and to be able to make this connection as well. So I look forward to meeting you and hope that this will be a good interim connection and communication. So signing off for now, and looking forward to meeting you, Heather.